Whose did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? Pulverine.
When the powers of R-rated humor and red spandex come together, we get the ultimate assassin feared by everyone in his cinematic universe. Just kidding. I'm talking about Deadpool, whose attitude is about as deadly as a female Chewbacca.
Bad Deadpool. 7. Good Deadpool.
However, when it comes to flexing, he leaves no stone unturned, and that's exactly what I'm here to talk about.
Or slap the out of you.
Wait.
Hey.
Zip it, Sinead.
Thus, without further ado, the TV Regent presents the top 25 times when Deadpool flexed in the movies.
Why is your hand so tiny again?
That's not my hand.
We're kicking things off with an intense scene because Deadpool leaves no stone unturned in this absolute gem of a sequence. The fact that Wade Wilson was able to pull off so much sass even with those creepy baby legs coming out of his lower half was freaking hilarious. I do feel for Leslie though, because it must have been traumatizing for her to touch Deadpool's hand, or at least what she thought was his hand. Honestly didn't know if her being blind was a good thing or a bad thing in this situation.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Usually, people would want to cover stuff like that to avoid any indecency, but as per Ryan Reynolds puts it,
a warrior has nothing to be ashamed of.
just as Weasel learnt the hard way, or maybe soft way, who knows what state of mind Wade was in at that time. Normally, this would be enough for me to end my entry, but no. Deadpool keeps at it even when Domino comes back.
What?
I'm not sure how much you would have appreciated being called a
Black widow.
but you can't even blame the guy. He saw a diversity freebie, so he took it. Even Cable wasn't spared when Wade totally violated him by asking if this place was listed on Grindr.
Is this apartment listed on Tinder? Grindr?
Yeah, he definitely picked the wrong place to mess with, didn't he?
The longer I travel, the harder it is to control.
Huh. That's just lazy writing. Whose did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? Pulverine.
I would have called this a first impression, but we already saw that in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yep, this is the first time we get to see the actual Deadpool, and he doesn't disappoint in the least. Making it big in Hollywood is a massive deal, so you should always show your appreciation for the chance. But Wade Wilson sure has a unique method of doing it.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
Fondling a certain part of the male body seems sure to take you to places because his career trajectory has been on an upward curve ever since. I also liked how he made the Pulverine joke because it ties into the most awaited moment of 2024, Deadpool x Wolverine. Although I'm not sure what the X is going to stand for, especially if Wade is involved. Anyway, the highway sequence was one of the most hilarious and thrilling ways to kick off the movie in the 2010s, and Deadpool managed to save the X-Men franchise with his solo efforts. Well, Fox still got bought out by Disney, so I guess it was a half win in that case. But still, you gotta count your lucky stars. Oh yeah, and how can I forget the epic "do not swallow" line he pulls off in the middle of fighting all those goons? I can totally imagine similar dialogue if Harley Quinn and Deadpool ever did a film together. And no, I don't mean that kind of film. Come on, get your minds out the gutter.
I've never said this, but don't swallow.
Okay, before I go ahead, I want to talk about keeps. Certified badasses like Samuel L. Jackson and J.K. Simmons may have their own appeal. I'm sure most men would prefer not to end up with their hairline, or rather lack of one. Enter Keeps, an online subscription service that offers FDA-approved treatments to treat male pattern baldness. Having already helped over 1 million men worldwide, Keeps delivers customized and curated solutions discreetly to your home at regular intervals suited to your needs and convenience. You can also contact the Keeps care team via their secure messaging portal if you've got any questions related to your orders. All their treatments are recommended by licensed medical providers, and clinical studies have shown that they're 90% effective in treating hair loss issues. Personally, I was lucky enough to nip my receding hairline in the bud by starting my Keeps package just at the right time. They also offer hair thickening shampoos, conditioners, and styling pomades for healthy hair growth. Start seeking out results within 6 months of starting regular treatment. Check out keeps.com/TheTVRegent or visit the link in the description for exciting offers that only cost half of what traditional pharmacies would charge. So, what are you waiting for? Start your hair loss treatment today with Keeps.
You ever heard David Beckham speak? It's like he a can of helium.
Emotional, damn it!
When it comes to the sport of football, there are very few players who can claim the kind of legacy that David Beckham has built. This is a man who had the whole world cheering his name during a time when social media wasn't even a thing. So when Deadpool said that he sounds like he just did unspeakable things to a can of helium, it sure had everyone in splits. To be honest with you, even I was shocked when I first heard David Beckham speak, because I was expecting some kind of ultra alpha giga chad kind of voice. I mean, he's still a legend and deserves all the respect in the world, but you've got to admit that Wade Wilson pretty much said what was in most of our minds.
They're doing great. We've actually just come back from a ski trip.
Plus, he did that apology video with him, so I guess they're all good.
What did you think I was apologizing for?
Green Lantern, R.I.P.D., Boldneck.
What the fuck?
It wasn't just Beckham he roasted though. Bro took shots at his own alter ego, and that too directed at his acting skills, which were on display when he said it.
Think Ryan Reynolds got this far on his superior acting method?
Damn, that's like a boss level meta joke, right? Oh yeah, and I gotta shout out Leslie again, but this one's almost as bad as the earlier entry because it's still got to do with holding certain organs in one hand. The only difference is, this time it's Deadpool's baby hand and he's talking about relative sizing. Not to sound mean, but I think Leslie would have preferred to be deaf as well if she knew she'd end up spending so much time with Wade.
I bet it feels huge in this hand. Go, 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 go.
Oh, your poor wife!
Leave it to Deadpool to make fun of people's, packages, but in this scene, he kinda sabotages himself by constantly going after Colossus. Like, come on bro, the dude is literally made of steel. Did you really think that his privates would somehow be soft?
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as f, in my opinion. I mean, and you know what though? That's typically how the bullshit goes, you feel me?
I mean, even the human version of that area increases in hardness from time to time. It was hilarious to see Ryan Reynolds trying to whack Colossus again and again, especially after realizing that Francis had run away. But yeah, the comments he makes on his poor wife really got everyone giggling in the cinema halls. Honestly though, how would a guy like Colossus even do the deed? Wouldn't he need his partner to have the same kind of biology, or in this case, metallic structure? I mean, I don't know, man. Stuff like this changes my whole perception of science. I don't think bro even got the joke because he just kept asking Deadpool to stop with his silly display.
Do you have off switch?
Yeah, it's right next to the prostate.
The scene was a perfect mix of witty humour and physical comedy, so I'm glad it exists, despite the fact that Deadpool had to damage multiple bones across his whole body.
Oh, there's the money shot, baby. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Please don't make the super suit green or animated.
One of the main reasons for Deadpool's success was its humour, and one of the strongest points about it was the perfect usage of breaking the fourth wall. It wasn't constant and unnecessary like what we saw in She-Hulk,
He doesn't mean that.
but was done in the best possible way, with pacing. Now we all know how much of a mess Green Lantern was, and Ryan Reynolds has already made quite a few jokes on the matter. However, I don't think many of us were expecting to see him poke fun at the character in a rival universe. Like, Marvel and DC are literally like childhood enemies, so for Ryan Reynolds to talk about not getting into a green or animated suit was a shocker. It was funny for sure, but smart as well because he didn't mention the actual name of the movie or the character. That may have helped Fox avoid any sort of legal notice from DC.
We do not care.
But it was still a brave thing to do, especially in a movie that hadn't been proven to be a box office success at the time. Maybe Deadpool fondled somebody's privates at Fox Studios to get this line in, eh? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. I've got a really creepy image in my head now.
I'm gonna.
Patience, Angel. Are you here for the turn down service or what? Looks like you left a little landing strip there. I like it.
The Yakuza has been a popular choice of gangsters across film and TV even in the early 1950s. It's a totally valid decision because they are highly respected in their circle and are known to follow a strong code of honor, unlike your total Martin Scorsese gangsters. However, in the world of Deadpool, nobody is safe, and that's exactly what we see when he takes them on a rather savage and gory sequence in Deadpool 2. Now, this scene isn't exactly meant to be deadly or anything, so there is humor to be expected, but not in the form of funny words. It's the way in which he takes down these guys one after the other. I mean, bro's out here giving tattooed gangsters wedgies and making them embarrassed by taking off their towels.
Talo. Sorry.
It just makes that whole thing much more relaxed to watch, even though what we're watching is the brutal death of multiple men. My favourite moment has got to be when Wade rubs that towel underneath one of the gangsters multiple times before taking him down. I also want to shout out the part where he panics upon getting blood in his eyes. Yeah, bro, you've got no problem with assassinating so many dudes, but God forbid you get their bodily fluids blocking your vision. Oh god, that didn't sound right, did it?
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
As much as I love the X-Men franchise, I can't help but criticize the mess they got themselves into with the whole timeline reboot strategy. Like, was it necessary to go through that whole situation only for your whole brand to be gobbled up by another conglomerate? Like, the X-Men are probably going to get introduced through some multiverse logic in the MCU, so all these efforts have really gone to waste. Even Wade Wilson wasn't a fan of this method, as he clearly told Colossus right from the start. Our boy Deadpool summed it up the best when he asked the Metal Dude if he was going to be Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy as Professor X. Bro has clearly seen the films and isn't impressed one bit.
I don't know.
I think what really makes the scene stand out is how casually he says this line. It's actually a pretty big deal for him to address one of the franchise's major flaws in a film that's set in the same universe, and yet he just says it as if it's no biggie. The funny thing is that in Deadpool 2, when he goes to the X-Mansion, we end up seeing James McAvoy for a split second, so I guess he did get his answer a couple of years later, albeit at the cost of more timeline issues.
I am not X-Men material at all. Well, we don't have that kind of money. I'm expecting Sam Jackson show up with an eye patch and a saucy little leather member. Go.
Well, there's one thing that the MCU has instilled in modern films, it's the post-credit scene. Yes, there are movies who've done this way before them, but the world took notice of this strategy and kept waiting to be fed with the next movie after seeing what the post-credits implied for the future of their favourite franchise. Deadpool seemed to have caught onto this, which is why he addressed this phenomenon in his very first film. I think what's really hilarious is the fact that he used the Samuel L. Jackson with an eye patch reference over here, because that was the first ever post-credit scene in an MCU film, the OG Spider-Man. Bro not only poked fun at our constant desire to be fed new content, he also violated the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. with one simple line. I'm not too sure if Samuel L. Jackson would have appreciated this kind of attitude, which could explain his behaviour towards Ryan Reynolds in The Hitman's Bodyguard. They do end up as friends by the end of the film, so I guess all's well that ends well, eh?
Oh, and don't leave your garbage all lying around. It's a total move. Go.
Be a hero. To make a sacrifice, conquer a flaw. The way we...
You serious?
One of the biggest traits of a superhero is the fact that they never take their lives of their enemies no matter how bad it gets. It was an amazing concept back in the 70s, but times have changed, which is why characters like the Wolverine are loved by everyone across the globe. Deadpool also happens to be an anti-hero, which is why he's not the type to listen to a metallic Russian talking about peace.
Well, I may be super, but I'm no hero.
See, even I can't believe I used all those words together in one sentence. Anyway, the final battle had Deadpool shooting Francis in the head without any hesitation, despite that horrible little speech that Colossus was in the middle of. I actually found his puking to be even more hilarious, because it serves him right for trying to teach peace to a guy whose face looks worse than a dried raisin. I mean, if I was in Wade's place, I would have probably given Francis a worse exit, but I'd also probably be swayed by Colossus because I'm a sucker for speeches. That's why Deadpool is such a savage dude. Bro doesn't listen to anyone else but himself. Also, what kind of puke comes out of a guy like Colossus? Is it fuel mixed with metallic bolts?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the f*** is that?
It's wearing superhero tights and sparing psychopaths, and maybe I wasn't meant to wear them. Hey, big guy, the sun's getting real low.
I've mentioned it before that I'd love to see Hulk face off against the Juggernaut. Those two dudes will probably end up wrecking a whole city with nothing but their brute strength. Since they're often associated with each other due to their strength, I suppose it was a stroke of genius for Deadpool to use the "Hey big guy" calming technique on the Juggernaut in the middle of their battle. It was a nice reference to how Black Widow calms down the Hulk, but in all honesty, I don't think Ryan Reynolds would have had the same effect on an angry muscle bro the same way as Scarlett Johansson.
Hey, big guy. Sun's getting real low.
Hey, big guy, the sun's getting real low.
It's also kind of funny that the two of them were actually married to each other for around 3 years before Ryan switched to Blake Lively soon after. I wonder if that had something to do with using his ex-wife's dialogue in his own movie. Since the Juggernaut was also voiced by Ryan Reynolds, what we're basically seeing was a man trying to seduce himself with his former lover's words. Yeah, that's a bit messed up if you ask me, but such is the world of the latex assassin.
When you pull the trigger, I'm touching myself tonight.
I think it's safe to say that we humans have grown into a deranged bunch with some really twisted fantasies, even the legal ones. I don't know if it's TikTok or just a general sense of regression, but we really have allowed our intrusive thoughts to take over our minds and bodies. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that, but when it comes to guys like Deadpool, they like to take it up a few notches. Bro went on a murderous spree just for the heck of it and sniffed his own guns to weirdly satisfy himself. And by guns, I mean actual guns, although I'm not sure which interpretation is creepier. Of course, it's the timing that really makes the joke land, but we should also remember that it's like a victory call for the dude. Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe this is the same guy who voices Detective Pikachu. I do want to point out that the devastation he causes earlier serves as the perfect pretext for this line, and it almost makes him appear as unbeatable because he clearly seems to like something about using up ammo whenever he gets the chance. No wonder America loves him so much.
You're probably thinking, my boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned that other guy into a kebab. Org, who was not my first choice, but apparently everyone else was too busy over on Disney+.
Okay, so this one's a bit different because it's not a movie, but it's a clip promoting a movie, so I'm still going to count it. I don't know the kind of stuff people were expecting when Disney bought Fox, but to see Deadpool and Korg review Free Guy was most definitely not what I had in mind. Also, if you think about it, this is basically Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi reacting to themselves in a movie that's not from Marvel. There were some pretty savage lines though, when Deadpool comments on the film as some kind of fire sale during the last days of Fox. There's also the fact that he totally violates Korg by revealing that he wasn't his first choice as his guest reactor. Maybe he didn't react because it was made of stone or something, but a normal person would have surely been humiliated by that line. However, top honours will go to his definition of fridging, which was basically Deadpool 2. Bro doesn't even spare himself when he flexes. See, now you know why I chose such a clip to make it to this list. Also, here's another business idea. A Netflix talk show where Deadpool interviews all the other mutants. Remember, you heard it here first.
Any tips on getting into the MCU there, Korg?
Land at the bottom and realize you're never gonna achieve that dream, and at that point, you'll get something from your agent saying, Marvel wants to talk.
This collar on, my superpower is just unbridled cancer. Give me a bow and arrow, I'm basically a Hawkeye.
I just spoke about Wade Wilson making fun of Deadpool 2, so here's a scene from Deadpool that's making fun of Hawkeye. I think it's safe to say that Wade Wilson cares as much about the feelings of others as Garfield likes Mondays.
I hate Mondays.
The part where he goes on a rant about the mutant suppression collar is pretty hilarious. Honestly, it's not even the joke in itself that sells the scene, but rather the way Wade pulls off his dialogue. Bro literally dragged a character who wasn't even in his universe. It's not even like Clint did anything to make Deadpool upset. Also, since Hawkeye went full Ronin and took down a whole bunch of Yakuza gangsters right after this film, I'm assuming he took it to heart.
You can't give me.
Sure, it's funny to mock city characters now and again, but to call Hawkeye a cancer patient with a bow and arrow is just a straight-up violation. The disrespect in that one line was probably more impactful than all of Drake's disses in his whole career. See, this is why Deadpool works so well. He has no shame in attacking other characters and is able to get away with it no matter what.
We keep a monster in the basement, right next to a huge steaming bowl of foreshadowing. Well, I may be super, but I am no hero. And yeah, technically this is a murder.
It might be that Deadpool's known for a lot of his shady behaviour, but the best part about this is that he owns his actions. Take the very first scene from his very first solo movie where he breaks the fourth wall and directly addresses the gore that people are watching right now. Bro even compared his latest victim to a shish kebab, for crying out loud. However, the line he says after that is perfect for describing who he is as a person. He might be super, but he sure as hell ain't a hero. Well, at least not in the way that traditional folks would like to have him. It was such a great flex because bro knew he was good at being a badass while also being self-aware to the point where he tells the audience not to expect any niceness from him. Anti-heroes are popular for a reason, and Wade Wilson embodies that like a true soldier. I mean, it's not something to proudly declare on the newspaper or anything like that, but at least the dude's honest, you know? After all, if you're gonna slice up bad guys like pepperoni, then you've gotta do it with a living passion.
You're probably thinking, my boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned that other guy into a Bob. They can't just dust off one of the famous X-Men. How about that 3 feet off the ground to snatch up the nearest muffin crumb?
First of all, let me just start off by saying the X-Men really don't give a damn about their timelines. Like, what the heck are the younger versions of these mutants doing in the present day? What about the older guys? Were we in 2050 or something when the first X-Men movie came out? Anyway, this scene was just put in here as a joke, but I like how it more or less implies that whenever Deadpool's around, every mutant apart from Colossus and Negasonic go into hiding until he leaves.
Why are you running?
leaves. Basically, Colossus is the only one willing to take a chance on Wade while all the others are like, not doing this today, let us know when he leaves, okay? Of course, the way he roams around in Professor X's wheelchair was pretty hilarious, and then when he calls out the studio for not even bringing out another basic mutant, bro literally called Angel a dude with pigeon wings and got away with it. I don't know how it can get more savage than that.
Training new convenience, man.
You're wasting your time, Shiny Jesus. I'm not X-Men material. Why?
It's too far going.
Zip it, Thanos. We have a deal.
There's no better way to kick off my top 10 than with a perfectly timed retort to the guy who's trying his best to move on from a blockbuster role. Josh Brolin is a pretty solid actor with a fair amount of credentials to his name, but he'll probably be remembered as Thanos by the general public. Deadpool happens to fit into that audience because he sure wasn't holding back even when the dude was playing a different character. It wasn't even like he was trying to say it was a soft joke or anything. Wade straight up told him, "Zip it, Thanos," and won all of our hearts. Even Cable was bamboozled for a second. Wait a second, which movie am I in again?
Are you serious?
The fact that it's so random and never even acknowledged again is what made it such a top-notch moment in an already top-notch sequel. If only Josh could balance his roles the same way as Thanos could balance his blade.
I need to ask you, what's with the dirty, disgusting hobo bear?
It's not dirt, it's the blood of my dead daughter.
And this one. In case the other fell off.
Okay, this one really took me by surprise, which is why it lands at such a high spot on the list. With the final battle done and dusted, I'm sure all of us were waiting for a nice little romantic reunion, which does eventually happen, but not before Deadpool has to show Vanessa what his face has become. I gotta hand it to that lady, she really did love Wade, because I'm not sure if there was any other woman around who would have agreed to continue with that raisin face. Okay, that was mean, but it's true, and the TV Regent only speaks facts.
Hi.
Okay.
Of course, it wasn't a straightforward affair as Wade had a freaking Hugh Jackman mask stapled to his face underneath the already suffocating latex mask. Bro really had self-confidence issues, despite being an overpowered mutant. The scene feels so much nicer now with Deadpool 3 coming soon, so I guess this was as good as any time for us to look back on Wade's fascination with the Wolverine.
Ace. You'd be happy.
Ripley from Alien 3. The studio couldn't afford another X-Men.
There's one thing you can always count on, and that's for Wade Wilson to make epic references. Take the time when he meets Negasonic at the X-Mansion and they engage in some hilarious banter. I still can't forget how much I laughed when he called her Ripley from Alien 3. That was so freaking accurate. What's even better is the fact that Alien 3 was the movie that pretty much killed its own franchise, so that's an S-tier level burn for Negasonic. There's also the fact that he roasts the studio for not having enough money to bring in another one of the X-Men, and the reason why this one gains favour over the rest is because it's the first time he does it. You gotta be on your Andrew Tate energy if you go making fun of the same people who are paying your salary. Now that's what I call an actual Giga Chad. I guess the only thing he's missing now is the Botox.
Fake laugh, hiding real pain. Go get so fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. She's like Robin to my Batman, except she's old and black and blind.
I've been mentioning how Wade Wilson is the undisputed king of breaking the fourth wall, so when he breaks the fourth wall within another fourth wall, it just had to lead to something magical. It's when he tells us about Leslie and how she's like the Robin to his Batman, but old, black and blind. Damn, that'd be like 3 separate bias points 50 years ago.
Ah, shit. Here you go again.
Anyway, it's always a pleasure to see our naughty assassin having a conversation with us rather than the actual characters in the movie, but there's something that's been bugging me. Deadpool did a fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break, but then he realised it and said it was 16 walls. However, isn't addressing a fourth wall break also a fourth wall break? In that case, if we use the same elementary mathematics that Wade uses, then we'll have 64 walls, not 16. Did I make it confusing for you? Well, imagine my own state of mind when I was trying to figure this out myself.
Back team?
Yeah. Back team should do it.
So dark! Are you sure you're not from the DC universe?
Remember dubstep? Yeah, those were the good old days, weren't they? Another fan of that genre happened to be Deadpool, but you know who's not a fan? Freaking Cable, that's who. Bro was better off as Thanos because at least that guy just wanted to wipe out half the universe without any bias. If Cable had the Infinity Stones, then he probably would have only targeted those who like such music.
Come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Anyway, the reason I've chosen this scene is because of how Deadpool not only roasts Cable, but also the DC Universe because of how dark he's trying to be. This was some obvious shade to Zack Snyder's vision, and while I do like his movies, even I have to admit that it was a pretty awesome line. Bro burnt Warner Brothers faster than Superman's laser eyes ever could. I've got to give it to the writers for being able to come up with such lines because these are all modern gems.
I have 3 questions then. 1. Is dubstep still a thing?
Picked the wrong shit, future boy.
Is that really necessary?
Imagine being a badass cyberboss only to be violated by a raisin face's testicles.
Got him! Got him!
That's the only way I can put this scene forward because Cable will never be able to recover from this moment. Bro put in all the hard work to become an overpowered Cyberman to undo what happened to his family, but then Deadpool put all of those emotions to rest by teabagging him.
That one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
Now, to be fair, it's not like it was intentional, especially with all the disturbance in the truck after Juggernaut freaking smashes it with one punch. However, Bro did get into a comfortable position when he realised what was going to happen. I also want to shout out all the other hilarious moments here, like when Wade calls out Cable for shooting Black Tom, or when he tries to act cool by deflecting all the bullets at first but eventually gets shot a bunch of times.
You killed Black Tom, you racist son of...
Wow, nice suit.
Zip it, Stanley!
Okay, I get roasting people within the same film, the same franchise, the same conglomerate, or even a rival company. However, Wade Wilson even went ahead and did his own creator dirty with his epic "Zip it, Stan Lee" line, even though it may have been a bit rude, especially if you consider the fact that Stan Lee was only complimenting his suit. I think that might have just been the only instance of Stan Lee's cameos where he was actually referred to by name. Once again, this is just an assumption, so you can let me know in the comments if I'm right. So we've established the flex, but what I also want to talk about is how hilarious the whole thing is. Bro spent so much time changing into his spandex that the person he was supposed to rescue already bit the dust. I guess paying homage to Superman doesn't come in handy during a basic assault.
Oh, that's not good. No, no, no. Oh, you're not gonna walk that one off. If I'm being honest with myself, I probably should have just called 911.
Hey, it's me. Don't scratch.
Okay, this is how you should be using time travel, minus the murder spree. I've given this scene a lot of credit in some of my videos, and rightly so, because damn, how savage do you have to be to commit so many atrocities? That too, to your own self. I'm not even joking here. First he gets rid of fake Deadpool, which was pretty funny considering that Wolverine just accepted what had happened in front of him. Then he went ahead and got rid of Ryan Reynolds just as he was about to accept the Green Lantern script.
That was easy.
Bro offs himself more often than The Weeknd in his music videos. This is really a top tier post-credit scene, and on a side note, I also want to talk about what he says to Logan over here.
Yeah, your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again. When he does, say yes.
That moment has come full circle now with Deadpool 3, so I'm really looking forward to catching it in the cinemas come July.
Goddamn, that's beautiful. You're welcome, Canada. Wolverine.
Oh man, I just spoke about how touching it is for Deadpool and Wolverine to be working together, and I followed it up with an entry where Wade drops the F-bomb on Logan. Anyway, I'd say it's fair because Wolverine's been known for misusing his language even in PG-13 films.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lenstra. Charles Xavier. Yourself.
Now, it's actually a pretty sad scene because Deadpool's trying to end himself after what happened to Vanessa, but the way he starts off by showing us that Logan toy immediately had the crowd going nuts. Then for him to just randomly diss Wolverine while he blows himself up was badass and hilarious at the same time. I don't know how he manages to pull it off, but that man is a genius.
Guess what, Wolvie? I'm dying in this one too.
Who are you?
"I'm Batman" has got to be one of the most iconic lines in all of comic book history. It's been the subject of countless memes, and it's even found its way to our one and only Deadpool. This was so random that calling it random would be an understatement. I don't know what was going on in Wade's head when he was fighting Cable, but he sure knows how to distract his opponent. Imagine if Cable ended up referring to him as Batman for the rest of the film. Wouldn't that have been hilarious, hey? I guess copyright laws may have prevented that from happening, but it still doesn't take away the fact that it was an ultimate flex, not just from a real perspective, but also from a real-life angle. Bro wasn't scared of any lawyers coming at him, he just wants to entertain.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Hope you liked the video, so please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that I know you're going to enjoy.